Prank your opponent into thinking that you're good at the game by stealing wins with this terrible deck, and prank us by clicking the subscribe button and comment if you dislike this video as much as I do. So just for the main deck, so for the monsters we play 3 of each of the prank kids. There isn't any one of these which is particularly standout. I think that like the wind one is a little bit better than the others, but like they all serve like their own individual role. So like Dropsies makes it so that your opponent can't just OTK you. Lampsies is a lot of the time your actual win condition, especially when you're playing under the Disgusting card. But like Fansies is the one that does the grave setup, so it's probably like the best one. Roxy's is pretty good because it lets you thin out, like you get to thin out the deck and then you get to draw a card. So it lets you like, especially in game 2 and 3, you get to like find side deck cards easier and stuff like that. But yeah, I think these are like pretty standard. And then the only other monsters that I play in the deck are just Free Gamma and Driver. So I didn't want to like fill this deck full of hand traps because it's like counterproductive with the actual like strategy. A lot of the time you're not going to really care about what your opponent's doing anyway because you're just going to try and Mystic Mine them and win the game that way. The reason why I chose this one is because this card actually lets you Mystic Mine resolve when you go second. And it's quite cool as well because I play like Reasoning in this deck, so Reasoning ignores this guy. But it's just unfortunate when you get Driver. And then for the spells, so we play 3 Prank Kids Place. I can kind of get the point of like people not playing through this card because it's not amazing. Like all it does is it searches monsters. All the monsters do the same thing. So a lot of the time it feels like it's got like Alistair syndrome where you've just got too many of the same card essentially. But I would play 3 in this version because this is one of the ways that you can turn your own mine off to actually just kill them. So yeah, this card's pretty cool. Something that I think is not standard is that I play 3 pranks. I think this card plays in with the Mystic Mine strategy like just amazingly, especially when you get into the games as well where the opponent is just being stubborn and he's not scooping, because what you can actually do is you can just keep recycling everything, and you'll literally just burn them for game essentially using the Rocket and the Lampsies. So yeah, this deck keeps this card keeps all the extra cards in your extra deck that you need to like do the play. And then we just play 3 Pandemonium. I love this card. I don't actually play Polymerization in this deck because I think it's kind of like redundant. But like this card's just like so much better. You use it on your opponent's turn. It gets into the Battle Butler. Yeah, so this card's sick. And then just for like extender cards, we just play 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Reasoning. Instant Fusion is obviously a lot better after turn 1. It's just like kind of broken in this deck after, like at that point. Reasoning is quite cool just because a lot of the time your little prank kid guy will get ashed, so then you need a way to put another prank kid body on the board. So you can actually do that with either of these 2 cards, and then you can do it with the pranks as well. So like there are ways to like extend past like Ash and Gamma. You can also like just fuse the cat off the field with another prank kid in the hand to like extend through Ash and Gamma. And then we just play 3 Droplets. This is another card which is like similar to Gamma where this card's going to help you Mystic Mine resolve when you go second. It's also like one of the best cards that you can have against like the Dragoon, because Dragoon is like the only card which is going to like negate mine essentially. A lot of the time as well, like you can actually get into a game state where you can actually just use this to turn like your own mine off, and then you're just like going to be able to push for game. And then all these sick, disgusting stuff. Yeah, just don't let your opponent play, irritate them. This deck is actually vile. George and Liam banned me from using this deck at my house. So. And then the last card is just 1 Skilled Range, just because it's like a second Mystic Mine. And then for the extra deck, we play 3 copies of the Meow Meow. So like this is like, I think this is atypical as well. I think a lot of people usually play 2 of this, but like in this build, I'm going to try and like lock them under mine, and I'm going to try and burn them to death. So you actually just need 3 of like certain cards in the extra deck. There's actually one that I'm playing 2 of, which I want to play 3 of for the same reason. And then we play 3 copies of Doodle. But Doodle's probably like the best one. It's the one that searches. It's quite cool that what happens a lot is that like people like Ash or like Veil of this or Impermanence or whatever. And then you can actually just like link it and then the prank kid away on the field into another one, and then you just get to resolve the like the graveyard effect of it anyway. So it's pretty resilient. Another thing which I think is pretty atypical is 3 Bow Wow. I like this card because in this version, what you ideally want to do is you want to like burn them, attack directly with the rocket, and then you just make this, and then you just throw this away at the start of their turn, and then they're back under Mystic Mine. It's also quite cool as well to make like all of these together because then like they boost each other. So yeah, I think the dog's like my favourite one. I think it's cool. And then we play one of each of the big guys. I don't think you need to play like more than like one of each of these in this list. I can see people playing more than one battle, but they're in versions that play like Thunder Dragon Fusion and stuff like that. But like in this build, like these aren't really the focus, and you can actually just recycle these every turn with like pranks, so you don't like need to like play more of these. These are pretty cool as well though, because you can actually send these off your opponent's Maximus, and then it's going to trigger the grave effects. So that's pretty nuts. And then for the rest of the fusions, just 2 Rocket and then 1 Weather Washer. Rocket's the card that I actually want to try and like make room for a third for in the deck because it is like pretty important for the strategy. It's essentially like your win condition, but I just don't really have the space for it because I think this last card is pretty important. And then Weather Washer is just important for when they break through mine and you need to try and like wall up to be able to get to the next turn. And then we just play Access Code. This card's amazing when you're playing like a Mystic Mine strategy because it means at any point when you want to turn your mine off, this is just like an easy win condition to climb into and just end the game with. And then I have like just like a silly side deck made. Basically what I've been doing is I've just been siding out all of the Mystic Mine stuff and I've literally just been putting in 15 hand traps. These probably aren't even the optimal ones. I was just trying Chaos Hunters because it's quite cool. I wanted to avoid using Impermanence because I think that it's kind of counterproductive to take out the Mystic Mines and then put in other cards that lose to back row removal. So I think like these ones are like fine generally. But yeah. So there isn't actually like an awful lot to learn in Prank Kids as far as like combos go because like every card is just a 1-card starter to like do the whole like play. But I am going to show you how it interacts with Mystic Mine and how you can use Mystic Mine going first or second. So what you're going to do is you're just going to summon your Lampsies, your Prank Kid. It's actually ideal that it's Lampsies or Dropsies because you want to resolve Roxy's last when you've thinned your deck a little bit and you don't want to start on Fansies because you want to use Fansies as material to make your Dodo. That way you can make a chain in a way where if your opponent was to Impermanence or Veiler the Dodo, then you still get to choose what card you get to search essentially. So you're just going to summon the Lampsies. And then go into the cat, and then you're going to use the effects of the Lampsies to go and summon from the deck. So this is where you get Fansies, and then that's where you make your Dodo. So like here you're going to go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. The reason why you do it this way is just because they're not going to ash at this point because they would have just ashed the effect of the first Prank Kid. Whereas if they have something like Impermanence or Veiler, it means that you get to send the fusion spell with the Fansies, and it means that you still get to search for that play for the opponent's turn. So Fansies is going to send, I usually always start on Pranks, and then we're going to go and summon the drops, and then the Dodo is going to resolve and it's going to go and search for the fusion spell. From here you just fuse these two into the rockets. And then the effect of the drops is going to activate to summon the rocks out the deck. And then at this point you're just going to use the rocket to revive the Dodo. And then any other Prank Kid. I usually always just get the fire one because this way if you get Nibiru here, because this is like where a lot of people will Nibiru you, it basically just means that the token will be at 3k, so it's like it makes it more likely that they're going to put the token in defense. Otherwise they can actually just put it in a tap position and just kill the token with the Nibiru. And then you're going to use the Dodo to add back your fusion spell and the pranks. And then you're just going to use these two to make the dog. And then the effect of rocks activates. It's actually optional at this point if you want to use the rocks or not. A lot of the time I'll just use it for the draw, but because we're playing a hand here where we have Mystic Mine, you're not actually going to summon from it, so we can actually just ignore the effect of the rocks. So now at this point you can actually just activate the Mystic Mine. You'll set these two, and then you activate this and then set this, and then in the end phase you just get to shuffle 3 back into your deck. I usually always put Rocket back, and then it's basically just whatever Prank Kid you don't need to be in the grave. So This bow wow, for instance, is going to add back probably any mixture of these. Depending on your hand, you always want the ability to make the bottle butler. So just based on your hand, if you already have one of these, then you put back the copy that you already have. So we'll just put back any of them in this situation. So we'll put back the rocket, the Lampses, and then probably the rocks, because rocks is just like never important, just because you don't need it for any specific fusion plays. So these three go back into the deck, and then you just draw a card. And now what's cool about this is that at any point now, if your opponent just summons a monster, you can just activate the bow wow to add 2 from your grave to your hand, and then they're stuck under the Mystic Mine. So yeah, so like you can use this going first and second. This doesn't actually have to be Mystic Mine either. This can be Demise of the Land, it could be Metaverse, and then obviously like Terraforming. So yeah, that's basically how it goes. And then once you're actually like under the Mystic Mine, so long as your opponent has a monster, you can actually like play the whole game without ever having to get rid of your mine to win. And the way that you do that is you just basically repeat that combo with this up. But except for when you summon the rocket, you're actually going to attack directly with the rocket for a 15. That way you do 1000 damage off the rocket, and then you do 500 damage off the Lampses every single turn. Yeah, so you just win the game essentially. So that was my Prank Kids deck. I don't want to claim to be like an expert on this deck, but I have played this deck for like 3 weeks straight now. I'm actually kind of like addicted to it. I just think it's so cheesy. It's my first time I've ever played with Mystic Mine, and it's absolutely disgusting.